Folks, we have this breaking news right now. Per our Chad Pergram, he works the Capitol Hill hallways better than anybody for Fox News. He is saying that the House Rules Committee will meet in about 14 minutes, 3:45 p.m. Eastern, to prep the interim spending bill, plus the prospective addition of this amendment to now provide $5 billion for the border wall. Now, this is a very critical step. Bring in who? Brian? Okay, this is a critical step. You first have to get a rule, which, in case you don't know, that basically establishes the terms of debate for most bills from the Rules Committee before you can even debate it on the floor. Whatever happens, you got to then send it back to the Senate, many of whom have already left town. And, of course, the Senate needs 60 votes, not one of these 51, and, you know, the vice president to do the tiebreaker. Spending bills need 60 votes. And that would mean they need Democrats who are not on board at the moment. We are told that the committee will make, in order, an amendment for the $5 billion for the wall. I should tell you the border fencing right now, the House had $1.3 billion. Then the Senate had $1.6 billion. That would have been the continuing resolution that pushed it 7 weeks out into the new year, kept the government funding. But then around 2 p.m. Eastern time, Paul Ryan, the Speaker of the House, was pulled out of the meeting. And it was the president on the phone who obviously, I don't know, you know, Mark Meadows, for example, of North Carolina, the Freedom Caucus, says, Mr. President, we're going to back you up. If you veto this bill, we'll be there. Maybe the president started to feel more emboldened. He doesn't want to give up his promise of the wall. He's, you know, we don't have Mexico paying for it at the moment, but this is what is happening right now. On your screen, we are waiting for the president to come out. While we are waiting, we bring in Brian Gardner. Brian Gardner is with KBW. He's their Washington policy analyst. Let me apologize in advance if we, perchance, see the president have to interrupt. But what are you hearing inside the Beltway? You've got your ear to the ground about this pending government shutdown.
I think you have two parties that are in very difficult positions to get out of. And so at least a short-term shutdown seems to me to be the most probable outcome. And then over the next couple of days, trying to figure out how to minimize the length of the shutdown. But it's tough to see at this point how they avert at least a weekend shutdown into early next week.
Okay, let me bring it to our investor audience. Right now, the Dow is down 377. Lots of red on the screen. We have transports in a bear market. We have the NASDAQ very close to bear market territory. And then the list goes on. Oil, forget about it. It's down 30% since its October highs. And so I need to know from you how you are advising the KBW clients when it comes to investing in this atmosphere.
Well, I mean, there are a series of macro factors that make it very difficult. You know, our outlook for 2019 is that we're expecting a soft landing. We're expecting economic growth to slow, but we're not expecting a recession. We're expecting modest growth next year.
Then, then are you okay with the Federal Reserve raising a quarter of a point yesterday?
Yeah, yes, and I think that was baked into the market. I don't think the actual increase was the problem. I think there were two issues yesterday. One was I think there was a disconnect between the policy statement, which seemed to be fairly hawkish, I would say, and then the dot plots, which I thought were a little bit more dovish. So I think that sowed some seeds of uncertainty. Furthermore, then getting into the press conference, I don't think that Chairman Powell did a good job of explaining where the Fed was or will be. And on top of that, he seemed to double down on the idea of the runoff and the balance sheet staying on a preset course. I don't think the market said that they would have to. They didn't look for a signal that the Fed would stop. I think the market would have liked to have heard some flexibility from the Fed on that.
Well, you know, we're not in an emergency situation anymore, so I think that Jay Powell was in a very tough position. I do need to ask you, though, about what you think pushed President Trump to pick up the phone, call Paul Ryan late this afternoon, or earlier this afternoon, rather, to say, forget it, I'm not signing this thing.
I think there's tremendous pressure on the president. And frankly, I think there's also pressure on the Democrats from their base. So each side's base is very ginned up, and they don't want to give in to the other side. I think it's a bad macro environment politically because Washington has forgotten how to compromise, and neither side. It's a zero-sum game. Neither side wants to compromise because if the other side gets anything, then my side lost,
Okay,
and that can't be seen.